Too much cleavage?
No, it's all good. Okay, 1 second. Oh my goodness, wasn't that magnificent? Memory from Cats. And we have with us today one of my best friends who is in herself a talent explosion because she can do everything. She can sing, she can dance, she can act, she plays piano, she musical directs. Just amazing, an amazing woman. This is Angie Rose. Angie, welcome to Talent Explosion, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Bill.
So before we get into talking about all the latest things, let's just do a little summary of your musical life. So I know you grew up in a very musical family. Tell us a little bit about your early life and how you got interested in music and in the performing arts.
Well, my parents were the huge influence, actually. They loved the arts, they loved theater. My parents were actually ballroom dancers themselves. They taught ballroom, they were professional competitors, so even as a little girl, they would be on a competition and they'd drag me and my sister with them, and we'd watch them ballroom dance with these elaborate costumes, and the girls were always in these amazing makeup, and so it was just an amazing show, and dancing was a big part of their lives. Now, music as well, theater, I grew up going to the theater. I think my first show was actually Carousel, and the story is I was 3 years old when my parents took me to my very first show, and apparently I just sat there the whole time at 3 years old, just in awe of what was going on stage. So I guess that's when I fell in love as a little girl.
And you did a bunch of shows when you were in high school, right? You starred in them, you sang in them. What shows did you do besides that?
Oh, sure, anything goes. I was Reno Sweeney, I was Rizzo in Grease. That was kind of the path that I took, and I did a lot of community theater at the time too. I did a lot of roles on stage. I was able to do some Shakespeare. I did As You Like It was one of my favorites, and then a lot of musical theater, some Sondheim, Little Night Music, Sunday in the Park with George. I got to portray some awesome roles like Adelaide and Guys and Dolls. And
oh my gosh, I love that role. It's
so
the
fun.
one that's coming down with the cold, right? And some person could develop a cough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Achoo! Yeah.
Exactly.
That's fun. Some great stuff.
So then you went to college. You enrolled at Kent State
I
University.
graduated from Kent State University in Ohio. I'm an Ohio girl.
Yay.
And so I have a degree in vocal performance, and I also have a degree in communications.
And so besides performing, you've done a lot of musical directing. Exactly how did you get involved in music directing, and when did that start for you, and what were the first couple of shows that you did?
I was pretty young. I was about 19, I think, when I did my first musical direction. I just was always a pianist. I played as a little girl, so even though I like to do the onstage stuff, I was getting all these jobs playing, and so pit work kept coming up. So I got to do some great shows, and I taught a lot of lessons in college. Always did church work as well. I worked for Catholic Church for about 10 years, Presbyterian Church. So I was all over the place doing any kind of music work I could, but really got embedded into musical theater. And I was lucky enough to land a great job at like the age of 23, right after I graduated, about a year after I graduated college, at it was the largest dinner theater in the country. It was called Carousel Dinner Theater. It was a wonderful place.
And that's where in Ohio?
It was in Ohio. Now, unfortunately, it's shut down since I had worked there. But in its time, I mean, this was like 30 years of a legacy that Carousel left. And when you think of dinner theater, you think of maybe one thing, but this was high-end dinner theater. All of our actors came from New York. They were equity performers. They were Broadway performers. We were union musicians. We did 8 shows a week all year round. And I was able to I did over 50 productions there. I worked there for about 10 years and had some wonderful times. And the cool thing about that job was we had actors coming in and out. I got to meet so many amazing people.
That's awesome. Tell me about some of the national tours that you did also as musical director.
Well, I mean, let's see. In 2008, 2009, I did the national tour of the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. That was a blast. We just toured all over the U.S.
Wow, amazing. And also you did the Color Purple.
Did the Color Purple tour. That was my last national tour. Also a wonderful, amazing experience. Wonderful show. Beautiful.
And I know that you also did Miss Saigon, and I have an interesting story about Miss Saigon because Grant Norman, who I know that you have sung and performed with
Yes, I
here
have.
in the Villages, you know, he was one of the great phantoms in Phantom of the Opera. But his first big experience in New York was first he covered all the male roles in Miss Saigon, and then he did the role of Chris. What other things did you do? I know that you did Smokey Joe's Cafe in Vero Beach.
Right here in Vero, there's a wonderful theater, Riverside Theater. It's a great theater over there. Had a great time doing Smokey Joe's Cafe.
So what is that like traveling around? You're like on a bus. It's like hotel to hotel. You're like show to show, gig to gig. Is that exhausting?
You're either flying on a plane to get to your next hotel, or sometimes you're on a bus to get to your next hotel, and you get used to the lifestyle for sure. You feel detached from your normal life when you're doing tour life. You get really close with your theater family and the people on tour with you.
Right.
And what a great experience. I'm just so blessed because I got to live in Denver for a while because I was doing theater there, and I got to go to Florida and travel all over the country, and just see and experience all this amazing stuff that our country has to offer while performing and doing the thing that I love. So what's better than that?
Right, not much. What made you decide that you wanted to get out of touring and that you wanted to sort of settle down a little bit? What brought you to Florida?
Well, I mean, I think,
We can take a pause.
yeah, let's take a pause.
Mhm.
Sorry about that.
Is that a bad question? Okay, what do you want me to say?
I don't know. Let's see.
Okay, I know what to do.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Well, I'm sure that traveling around constantly on tour can be exhausting. And so your parents, they moved to Florida and you decided to come here to the Villages.
We ended up coming down here to the Villages. My son and I have a 7-year-old son, and he's down here with me. And yeah, my parents were down here for a few years. And so after a while, we just decided that this was a move that we were gonna make. After becoming a mother, I settled down. My tour life wasn't gonna happen for a while.
Well,
so
I mean, you had a son, so
exactly.
you had to settle down.
Exactly.
And so you came here to Florida with your folks. And how did the liaison happen with New Covenant United Methodist Church?
Oh, interestingly enough, I had kind of scoped out the area. Of course, my parents lived down in the Villages, and I had scoped around the area. I've always worked in churches, so I knew that I wanted to find a place to go and find a home. So I started looking around, and I actually just was scoping around, and I looked up New Covenant United Methodist Church, and I saw Sean, and I just sent him an email. And from there, I got a job working with him. It's been almost going on 6 years now that I've been here and working at New Covenant United Methodist. Also, I think where I met you at the same time too, right?
Exactly. Okay, so folks, she's talking about Sean Pollock, who's a great friend of mine, and he is the music director at New Covenant United Methodist Church, and he has tremendous experience in opera and in collaborative musicianship as a pianist. And he's one of the most talented people we have here in the Villages. Very lucky to have him. And Angie, you are so lucky to have met him and to be working with him. And I remember Sean had invited me to be part of a fundraiser, and I forget exactly what the fundraiser was for, but you and I met at lunch one day. Sean and you and I, we got together to sort of sit down and figure out what we were going to do on this program. And immediately, as soon as I met you, I just felt like we hit it off. I mean, amazing. And then I actually didn't know at first when I met you that you were a singer, but when I heard you sing, oh my gosh, took my breath away, and I said, wow, you know, we are going to be great friends.
I thought so too, and when I remember that lunch too, and we did hit it off. And that first benefit concert, it was a concert for Backpack for Kids.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We do that every year. You've done it a couple times with us before, and we end up giving backpacks and school supplies for the kids right here in our local community. So that's something we've been doing every year. It was an awesome concert too, and we did Memory for the first time together.
I remember that
during that concert.
That, you know, amazing. And then while you were at New Covenant, you also went with the whole group from New Covenant to Carnegie Hall, and you made your Carnegie Hall debut. What was it like to stand on the stage of Carnegie Hall and participate in that kind of great concert?
Well, that was an amazing trip, and of course a once-in-a-lifetime experience to be performing at Carnegie Hall. What a memorable experience. Best acoustics in the world, right?
Absolutely. One of the things that I remember the most, or I was the most impressed by, was when you did your cabaret show at the Sharon. Tell me how that came about, and how did you put that all together?
That was interesting and so much fun. I was approached by Whitney Morse, the artistic director of the Sharon here in the Villages, and she was doing a series and said, would you like to do a cabaret? And, you know, what's your theme? And I said, I would love to do a cabaret, and I'm gonna find a theme. And so my theme ended up being Life in the Pits, where I was able to kind of talk about a little bit what I'm talking to you about.
Right, like being a director and being in the pit orchestra all the time.
Right. And then I got to sing. It was fantastic. I've got to do a one-woman show then at New Covenant United Methodist Church. And my friend Ryan Lockle and I last year produced A Quiet Christmas, which was a Christmas concert that we did. We're going to be doing that again this year. And I did write an original for that too, so I'm excited about re-releasing that this year. So
I remember when you and I and Kathleen and the St. Timothy's Choir was invited to go to Rome to sing for a festival mass with Pope Francis, and we also did the European debut of my Requiem Mass, and you were part of that group. That was really a wonderful experience, and I appreciate you coming along on that trip and being a part of that amazing experience. And I think in that experience, you and Kathleen Kane and I kind of bonded. We sort of hung out a lot together, and then you ended up getting hired at the Villages radio station with your own show. Tell us a little bit about that and when it is and all of that.
Well, I've been at WVLG, the Villages radio station here, DJing. It's so much fun. Been there about 3 years, and I just love it because music, of course, is my life. And it's an oldies station. It's a blast, and get to talk about a lot of local stuff that's going on here in the Villages. And I think that, you know, it's a niche for me too. So it's been a really great fit and a great addition to my life here. So.
Well, Angie, every time that we hang out or we're together, I always feel like you're family. I mean, I feel like you're my niece, and I have the greatest time with you, and I love you so much. And we began collaborating a few years ago on a few shows. We wrote together or arranged together the Andrew Lloyd Webber review show the first time that we did it. And we've done a Stephen Schwartz review show that we worked on together. You've starred in those shows. We did the Leonard Bernstein tribute.
We did. The beautiful reviews we've done together and performed together. I love collaborating with you, Bill.
And so many times when the singing servers were at Katie Bell's, someone would call in sick, and in a panic, I would, dial you up and call you, hey, Angie, can you come, so-and-so's called in sick, can you come sing a song for us at Katie Bell's with the singing servers tonight? And you were always so gracious to come and help us out with that. And one of the favorite songs that you sing, that I love playing for you, is Stars and Moon from Songs for a New World. And, but tonight we're going to give our audience a special treat because, of course, the people at New Covenant, they get a chance to hear you on the piano quite often. But some of our listening audience doesn't know really the whole scope of everything that you do. So we're going to give them a chance to listen right now to Stars and Moon with you accompanying yourself, acting, and singing at the piano, the one-woman show that you are, your own talent explosion. This is Angie Rose in Stars and Moon. Okay?
That was great. You're great. I'm not very good. I don't know what to do.
You're good.
You stumped me.
All right.
Now we're going to talk about our song, right?
Yep. Okay. What's the line at the end? I'll never have the moon. How does it end?
I'll never have the moon.
I'll never have the moon. I mean, just what a great song. It just tells the tale of wanting and experiencing and then realizing all the things that you've missed along the way of life. And I can certainly relate to that. It's a song of inspiration. It makes me think that I need to pause and enjoy really the good moments that we have, the blessings that God gives us every day, and to try to experience contentment while still moving forward.
And it's not about all the materialistic things, right? Stars and Moon, and that's brilliant. A beautiful song about non-materialism, and a beautiful song, beautiful show. Jason Robert Brown, yeah.
Yeah, and they did it recently here at the Studio Theater.
They did.
Fernando Varela was in that along with Whitney Morris, I
Yes.
believe, and I think Sean Pollock played piano for that.
It was a great production there, yes.
Yeah.
Love it.
So I want to talk a little bit because people are very excited about this song that we wrote recently, and it's become a hit on YouTube. We've got almost 8,000 views in just a few weeks. And I'm hoping that it's going to be a big success for us. So I just wanted to talk a moment about that. So Angie and I have been, a little bit down about this whole pandemic thing. And we were just sort of hanging out one day, sort of talking about how depressed everyone is and how this sort of hit us all out of the blue. And just that everyone was at each other's throats fighting about politics and religion and all kinds of stuff. And okay, I'm not gonna lie, we had a couple glasses of wine, and we said, why hasn't somebody written a song to try to bring people together and focus on the goodness in this world and not be fighting with each other so much all the time? And so we just sat and sort of brainstormed one day, we need to write a song. And we threw out a bunch of ideas, and Angie started taking notes because I've written a lot of music before, Angie's written a lot of music before as well. She's a composer. But for me, I got a lot of melodies in my head, but I don't do so well with lyrics. But she really is great with words. She just started taking notes that night and just put together this great song. Tell me about, Angie, just tell me a little bit about how you feel that song sort of happened.
That song, that was so interesting because it did spawn right out of just us as friends, hanging out, social distancing one night, talking about what in the world is going on in the world right now. This is crazy. On top of it, the media and all this and politics and it's just, it seems so negative, and it's negative, and we just need to bring some positive. And yeah, you played me that melody that night, I think. You went to the piano, you said, I have this in my head.
I have this in my head, and it was different. It was like, together we can change the world. That's all I had in my head. I mean, I had a melody, but I didn't have the words.
And you had the piano part there.
And I got a billion melodies in my head. I'm a little bit crazy. I wake up in the morning kind of with melodies in my head, but there's probably medicine for that. But anyway.
But we had Change the World.
Yes.
And we had some music, and we had recorded a little bit of music. And so when we knew what we wanted to kind of say, and there were just certain things we knew we wanted to say.
Right, about dignity and respecting each other and spreading love and all that stuff. And then I remember the next morning I woke up, I went to my computer and I had this email from you, and it had the lyrics to the song. Not actually the final lyrics that we have now, but pretty close to it. And I read it and I started crying, and I said, oh my God, this is beautiful. I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna write the music. So we did. I wrote the music and we went back and forth a couple of things and had Angie on the phone, and then she came over. Social distancing. We kind of like tried to tweak the words in the music, and we finally settled on the final version of this song, and it's really blessed people. And what? Do you have something that you want to bring up about that experience of just like the collaboration of writing a song together?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we knew we worked well together as musicians and just were on the same mindset, doing all these reviews we've done together and working together. But actually writing a song together, it was actually a magical experience over a couple of days because it was very organic and it just naturally happened. And we let it happen.
Right.
So that's the other magical part of it.
Well, and it was really a blessing. And then we decided to make a little studio recording. Well, actually, I dreamed big. So I thought, okay, we got to get this song out to Warner Brothers or Disney or somebody. It's going to be a big hit or whatever. But then the more we thought about it, I was like, by the time all of that stuff happens, it's going to take forever and so many tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars to do that. I said, Angie, let's just you and I sing it, and we'll maybe bring in Jerry Bruno, which we did, and he was wonderful, and John Gaffney on bass, and we just put a little demo together just to share with friends and to put out there on the internet to try to immediately spread some goodness and some happiness, which we both felt we desperately needed in this world.
And beyond that, we needed it for
right.
us.
Just the fact of us doing it uplifted our souls.
It was
too.
therapy, and so also, yeah, we wanted to just share it with people, if just to put it out there and see if that positivity can bring some better direction to our world, right?
And I definitely think that it can, and I think that if people could let go of this nonsense about fighting about religion and politics. I remember when I was growing up, my mother used to always say, One thing we don't talk about at parties is religion and politics. Nowadays, it just seems like everybody's at each other's throats, and we need to stop. We need to stop, and we need to join together, and we need to spread love and kindness and joy and respect.
It's true, Bill. It was very important too in the chorus that we put the word or the phrase respecting one another.
By respecting one another, yes.
We will build a brighter place and change the world.
Together we will change the world. I mean, I think it's a fabulous song. Then again, I wrote it, so it's okay. Anyway, Angie, it has been a blast having you here today.
My pleasure, always.
Thank you so much for coming on Talent Explosion. We're going to leave our listening audience today with this little demo recording of this song. And you can find it on YouTube if you type in Change the World. And it's on my YouTube page, so you might have to put Change the World Bill Doherty or something like that. But you can find it and listen to it again if you like it. And hopefully something will happen with it. I think maybe something will. It's very interesting. The first day that we put it up there, we got messages from Texas A&M University asking us to release the song and write a special arrangement for their choir. There's also a choir that contacted Angie from Ohio, a high school choir that wants us to do an arrangement. So things are happening with this song. Please support it, share it with your friends. I hope it's going to be a blessing to you.
Thank you.
God bless you, Angie.
God bless you too.